Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawnbusters Taste Challenge. Another Dawnbusters and more rye whiskey. And I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge, as it hasn't been, except for my two screw ups with the labels, the tags, but that was rectified in Barrow. But yeah, this is Knob Creek Rye, small batch rye, non age stated, introduced in 2012, 100 proof. This is a little half size bottle, has an award there. I'm tapping on it. Introduced in 2012 and discontinued last year when they brought out some newer, more, newer age stated, let's say it that way, newer age stated rye, same kind of label, but one is a 7 year and one is a 10 year. But at the beginning, it was non-age stated. Yeah, you can still find them because I found them this year and they had them for $6.99 per bottle, so $13.98 for a full size amount of Knob Creek. Yeah, can't pass that up. Couldn't understand why though. It's like, why would this be so cheap? I know Knob Creek's, you get this at close to $30, almost $30 a bottle. Then I realized by research they had discontinued it and replaced it. So yeah, they were trying to dump it, get rid of it. Okay, I took advantage of that. So obviously there's no website listing because they cut it and took it off the website. Makes sense. Now they're claiming that their rye is a high corn rye, meaning it's a lot of corn. Of course, it's mostly rye. That's the law. Rye whiskey would have to be at least 51% corn, but it doesn't have to, 51% rye, but it doesn't have to be higher than that. Some ryes are 100% rye. I've got one from Canada. But normally they're blended whiskeys. They're blended with corn, in this case, a lot of it, and then some malted barley. They could add wheat if they choose to. Some people say, without evidence, but it's probably a good guess, that this is the same mash bill as the discontinued Jim Beam pre-prohibition rye, the current Jim Beam rye, the old overhaul ryes, because what they do, take the same mash bill, same percentage, and they just make it higher or lower proof and age it longer or shorter. So you get technically different recipes, but in reality, the same product. So did the old overhaul and the Jim Beam pre-prohibition rye taste vastly different from this? No, they really tasted about the same. The only difference was you could get the strength. You could feel the strength of it at 100 proof. And of course, it could be used in different barrel char, heavy, moderately heavy, or heavy moderate, low moderate, and then low barrel char. So that could be, it would be the same mash bill, would be a different, outcome. Real cork in this Ezra Brooks. Okay, a real chunk of cork, which seems to be deteriorating, so I need to keep an eye on that. And it can't be too old because this was only introduced in 2019, so the oldest the bottle could be was 6 years old. But I tell you, some of these corks, they'll disintegrate in just even 2 years. I've seen it happen. And it's a very irritating thing to have to reconstitute it after the cork fails. You see, and I can look at the bottle neck. I'm looking at the neck right there. There's chunks of cork all through there. So you could assume it's getting into the whiskey, which is not a good thing. Yeah, that's not cool. Okay. Oh yeah, and it's full of gunk. Hey, I can't answer for that. Ezra Brooks straight rye whiskey, aged in new charred American oak. Distilled and aged in Indiana. Bottled by Ezra Brooks Distilling Company, St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, so I thought this was a Kentucky rye, so I got to update my notes. So I finished with all the Kentucky ryes. Now I got to bring in Indiana rye on an Indiana night. So golly gee, it's not even a Kentucky Rye. So I'm going to update that right now. But let me pour it first. So Luxco, headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. But a year after this hit the market, Luxco was bought. Good, equal. I don't need a lot. Luxco was purchased by Midwest Grain Products, MGP, of Kansas and mainly Indiana. But they do have a Kansas facility where mainly they do a grain over there. They sell grain products. Charcoal mellowed, so it's mellowed through charcoal. Finest ingredients, naturally. This bottle looked like hell. It was dirty. The label was peeling off. And I didn't want it. But I found this in Belle Chase, Louisiana, on Belle Chase Highway, the only, really the only highway through that town along the river. It's interesting, thin. It's a thin town, and it goes like a curve, but it's a place to visit. But it was on the shelf. There was no price tag, and I said, "Look at this thing. The label's all peeling off, covered with dust." So I brought it to the counter, and I was like, and that's an interesting liquor store. It's like an old, cluttered, privately owned liquor store. They do have prices usually. No, it's not in the hood, because I don't think Belle Chase has the hood. They have neighborhoods, but Belle Chase is a pretty safe area from what I can discern. But I brought it to the counter, and the owner looked at it. He was like, "I tell you, my friend, for $9, I'll sell it for $9. Well, I knew it was more than $9. So I bought it, came home, cleaned it up, got the label taped down where it's held together. And I did some research online. It's selling for $17.99 everywhere, around that price. But that's mainly the price, $17.99. So to get it for $9, that's a benefit. So yeah, let me update. Kentucky, Indiana. I thought it was Kentucky. Okay, well, I can't remember everything. Both are straight rye whiskey. So we're going to take Kentucky off that sentence, out of the sentence. So Knob Creek is Kentucky small batch. And Ezra Brooks is in Indiana rye. So it has nothing to do with Kentucky. It doesn't. It's not made there, and it's not bottled there. This thing never. Well, it might drive through Kentucky on the Commonwealth routes. They have their own special highways, but that's it. You got me. You confused me, Ezra Brooks. Okay. Yeah. Ezra Brooks is an old brand. Not as old as they claim, but it goes back decades. And mainly they do bourbon that kind of tries to sort of mimic Jack Daniels, similar bottle design. And that's how they promoted themselves in the 1960s, like a cheaper alternative to Jack Daniels. Basically, what the ad said was, it's cheaper than Jack Daniels and tastes better. And watch out, JD, we're on your back. We're on your tail. And I'm sure Jack Daniels laughed that off, like, yeah, sure. Oh, it has a following. I'll see it at Walmart. I'm talking about the black label, the bourbon. And looks like people buy it, they do buy it. But okay, but there's still a website, and I'll show you all the website for this product. But I think it's discontinued. I don't think this website is going to be up here much longer. I really don't. But it says straight rye whiskey. Oh, yes, that's right. They give the mash bill. That's very Thank you, Luxco, because it's nice when you know what's in it. 51% rye, 45% corn, and 4% malted barley, and 100% wind. No colors or flavoring added. That's because it's dry. You can't add coloring or flavoring to straight. But you can add it to rye whiskey. It just says rye whiskey. Buyer beware, buyer beware. It might contain coloring or flavoring. It says ingredients rye and barley. I think since they just said it above, gold medal 2017. I thought this came out in 19. My memory's really slipping on this. But now there's a barrel program you can sign up for. You want to buy a whole barrel of whiskey? Now, if you go to the go to their website now, it doesn't show it. Like when I clicked on whiskeys, it showed the lineup. It shows the new Ezra Brooks Rye, but it doesn't have this one. That's strange. Let me see if I can find out. Oh boy. Thought for certain it was 2019. Maybe it was 2017. Ezra Brooks Rye. Let's see if I can get a trademark on it. Doubt it. Ezra Brooks Brandy. Now that's a new one. On me. Yeah, it says 1957 Ezra Brooks. In fact, March 29th, 1957, the first time it was ever used in commerce, the trademark. Meaning the first day they put it on the shelf that nobody could use their trademark. When was Ezra Brooks Rye introduced? And they may have been making it all along. Oh, 2017. I knew it was in the teens, but doggone it. Guess I could show you the current lineup. Okay, let's update the notes again. Sorry for this, folks. 2017. Still didn't last that long, but like they still make a rye. Like I said, they still make, both these companies still make a rye. It's just different. Here's the current one. You see? They got, oh, there's two of them. That's right. There's the 99 rye. Highest quality ingredients, aged the old-fashioned way, and charcoal to deliver a beautifully mellow flavor and smooth finish. And then there's the 7-year rye. I guess they're obviously going against the Knob Creek. Then there's the Neem, which at first they were selling it for $33, the 33 proof, and nobody bought it. People were like, "Are you crazy?" Because their old bourbon cream was $11.99. So Walmart's got this much lower. It's like $14. If I type in Ezra Brooks blended whiskey, watch, it'll come up. But you got to use a back door. See, they're showing it. It's a blend of corn, rye, and barley. Sour mash blended whiskey. Try finding this. I've never found it. But see, if once you click on whiskey, it's not going to show it. If you click on the current, it's not going to show it. So, and the bottles are different. They're rounded. It's just squared off. So it's a mystery. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. You can go to the distillery, which I knew. Okay. Charcoal mellowed. The the Knob Creek doesn't make any statement about charcoal filtering. I guess they're chill filtering it. Okay. And if they do make a statement, I didn't see it. I overlooked it. Check again. Small batch Kentucky straight. Do any Jim Beam products ever talk about charcoal mellowing? I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be much of a challenge, so let's get it over with. It's going to go quick. It's going to be a wipeout. Yeah, smell like rye, meaning rye bread. But there is a lot of corn, so there's cornbread in that. Remember, it's 45% corn. So you're just flipping it, you know. They got their bourbon, 51% corn. Then they got their rye, 51% rye. And they just go flip it. And then it's two different products, even though they're both blended whiskeys, blended with three different grains, three different whiskey, you know, a rye whiskey, a barley whiskey, single malt, like they would call in Scotland, single malt whiskey, and rye whiskey. But since they have a predominance of a certain grain, then they can call it that grain type of whiskey. If it was no majority, then they could just call it blended. If it was like 48% corn, 48% rye, and 4% malted barley, they would just call it blended whiskey, like the one I just showed you, the white label, which I'd love to find that, but I don't look for it to happen. Okay, that aroma is sort of neutral. This one's bolder. There's more action here, but now got to be careful because I got to taste them. It's got some action. Seems like 90 proof though. The body's not super heavy. You get the charred oak. I don't know what level char they're using on it. Yeah. It's a little spicy, a little peppery. It's mild. Do most people buy this as a mixer to make like Sazeracs and stuff? Probably. I don't know if it's a sipper at $17.99, but I am sipping on it, ain't I? Knob Creek is definitely a sipper. I don't know if I'd use that as a mixer, kind of waste of money. Much stronger, much bolder, heavier body, deeper char. So they're obviously using a deeper char. You could just, it's 100 proof. Now you say, well, it's only 5% difference, you know, 45% alcohol versus 50. I know that, but it's coming across a lot more, a lot fuller is what I'm saying, a lot fuller. So is Knob Creek a better product? Yes. It's aged longer because it's at least 4 years old. There's no age statement, so we know it's at least 4 years. This is a young, only 2-year age. Ain't a whole lot happening at 2 years, but you know, it's fine. I'm sure the 7-year is a lot finer. Burley Sullivan says, you. Hey, Burley, cheers back to you. Liquor Enthusiast says, hey, hello to you. Now, they didn't really change it that much because the 99 proof, all they did was just bring it down to 99 proof instead of bringing it all the way down to 90. So they just decided to go to a higher proof. Cherry bombs? No, I don't have any cherry bombs. I don't know if you're talking about a drink or the fireworks, but I don't have either one. Let's go back to Ezra Brooks. Let me look at this for a moment. The 99, damn you. Let me click on the 99. Yeah. They didn't change anything except that they improved the website by listing all the ingredients, rye, corn, and barley, instead of saying rye and barley, which was a typo, really an oversight. That's why I don't feel too bad making mistakes, because I'm not running a website. And these companies are rich. They have a lot of money, and they run websites, and they make all kind of errors. So it's so silly. So silly. Oh, and now they make it in Kentucky. Oh, no. Never mind. Bottled for Luxco distiller. Bottled for them. They don't even bottle it themselves. Bottled for them. So I guess it's still Indiana rye on an Indiana night. 51% rye, 45% corn, 4% malted barley, and 100% genuine. Bottled at an honest 99 proof as opposed to a dishonest 90 proof, I guess. So what did they change since 2017? And I think the change happened about 2023. They started phasing this in and phasing the other one out. What changed? It's a higher proof and a different bottle design. And notice I'm not noticing they're talking about the age. I bet you it's aged 2 years still. I know it is because when I had look on Total Wine and More, they showed the backside of it and it said age 2 years. So heck, what do they sell this for? I bet you it's over $20 now. Oh, you dirty dogs. They're only showing the 7 year aged. So we obviously that's 7 years. Ding 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 dong. Wake up. We know that. Okay, so same product, just they go 7 years with it. Oh, what was the price? $54.99. Hey, wait a minute. You charged me all that extra money for 5 more years? You say, well, time's money. Yes, that's true. But maybe not my money. I may not pay that. Okay, Ezra Brooks, the cream. Oh, are you kidding me? Let me see if it's in store. I got to click in store because something. They're saying they've got this Ezra Brooks bourbon cream at Walmart right now for $9.50. I can't believe it. Are you telling me that they're offering it for this price? Well, they don't show the darn rye, but I guess it's over 20. $9.50. That's madness. Madness. I think I have to buy it. I can't pass that up. I've already had it before and it's so good, but man, for $9.50, that's an enticement. That is an enticement. Let me say this. Bottle for Luxco. Oh, haha. Hey, Luxco, why don't y'all make your own stuff instead of claiming to be a distillery? We're a distillery. You can tour it. We don't actually really make anything there, but you can tour it. Burley Sutherland says the fireworks. No, I don't have any of those. Preston Martin says, what's going on, y'all? I think I'm going to head over to my local liquor store and see what they got over there. And then Liquor Enthusiast says, Mary Jane's Last Dance. And Preston Martin says, rest in peace, Tom Petty. Yeah, I remember that day when he died. I couldn't believe it. I feel like an alien living in this world. I guess I've kind of always felt that way, though. That's a strange comment to make. Rest in peace, Roy Orbison. Rest in peace. Okay, now they're giving condolences to all type of people. Okay. Now we are at the end. Good product. Would I recommend Ezra Brooks if you find this squared off bottle, which is probably still available somewhere in the dark corners of America's cities? Yes, I would recommend it, especially for $9 plus tax, which is what I paid. Yeah, baby. Would I recommend Knob Creek? Sure would, especially for $13.98 for a full amount. Will I ever see that deal again? No, certainly not. But you take it when you can get it. Liquor Enthusiast is a top fan. Don't exactly know what that means, but that's what YouTube says. Okay, Knob Creek, it's better. No, none of the other ryes I have are going to beat Knob Creek. Ain't going to happen. Will not happen. It's an impossibility. So is Knob Creek the best rye whiskey I've got? Easily the best. Well, maybe I run the mouth too much because I haven't brought in the Canadians yet. I got to go through Indiana. I got the Dickel. I got the Templeton for your age. And then I got to go down to Tennessee with the Jack Daniels Tennessee Rye, which is no longer produced. Sad story there. Oh, well. That's business. And then I got to go into the Dominion of Canada. And Tuesday. Where's my mind? Tuesday was Canada Day, their national holiday. And I think they need to keep that day. When Canada becomes a state, they need to let them become a state on July 1st so they could just change the date. Change the name. They would only have to change the name of the holiday to Statehood Day, something like that. Because it used to be called Dominion Day, and then in 1982 they changed it to Canada Day, which is hard to say. Canada Day. There's a Cuban woman I work with, and she kept trying to say it, Canada Day. She shouldn't feel bad because even in English it's hard to say. And then Statehood Day. All right. People say you're joking. You're using dry humor. Would I do that? All right. Enough's enough. Been my boss. Okay, this is the Knob Creek. I got it. Like there was any doubt, like, nah, you're not going to get it confused. Now, are there some 100 proof ryes that could confuse me? Yeah, I guess so. I hadn't tried them yet, except for Knob Creek. Yeah. And Indiana is the only state I've ever been to in which it's the only place I've ever tried broasted chicken. Broasted chicken. Yeah. Top fan. What the fool? Do I get a prize? I don't know. You could ask him. And I didn't know what broasted chicken was. I was in northwestern Indiana. We were on the highway heading south, and we stopped off at this restaurant. Looked like it was nice, a little roadside restaurant. And my friend Paul and we said, let's go. And we were hungry, And I said, I don't know what this means, broasted chicken. And we asked the waiter, we said, what does that mean, broasted chicken? He said, well, broasted chicken. We looked at each other like, no, we don't know. But that's why we're asking. He's like, well, they broast it. It's broasted chicken. No idea what he's talking about. I said, let's try it because who knows, And so they brought it out. A big plate, too. It was a lot. And I'm like, well, that's fried chicken. I told Paul, that's fried chicken. It was dark, darker than regular fried chicken. But I said, okay. It tasted like fried chicken. It was kind of spicy. It had a little flavor to it. It wasn't hot. Hot from heat. Yeah, from being in the broaster. But I did research. That's some kind of contraption they buy. It's called a broaster. It's sort of like a combination, and I could be wrong here, and probably am. Ball State, Muncie, Indiana. Yeah. David Letterman. Indiana is a beautiful state. I've been to the caverns there, Indiana caverns. They have hills at the south part. It's kind of hilly. The rest is flat as a tabletop. But some kind of thing you could buy is a broaster. It's sort of like a pressure cooker / fryer. It's an interesting thing. But we never heard of it. I never seen that in Louisiana, by golly. All right, well, that's it. So the clear and present winner is Knob Creek. Whoever would have doubted it. I sure didn't. Sorry, I got these informations wrong. Now, I can do a show and tell real fast if you want to see a very unusual Ezra Brooks, which I think you could still buy in Taiwan or also maybe in Guam or something. Do it? Okay, this is not sold in the United States anymore, according to the website. I'm pretty sure they know what they sell. I found this bottle at International Market, and it was $10.99, which to me is a good price for Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. And Ron going into the vault. Yes, I am. Show it. It says NC Theo. Do it. Okay. And I thought the label was different, which it is. And I think this bottle is like 30 years old. I can find out. Let's see. Now, here's the bottle. Ezra Brooks Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. They still make it, of course, but theirs is 99 proof now. This is 80 proof. And I said, well, the label is different looking to me. B, there's the old distillery, which is probably demolished by now. B, it's 80 proof, which shocked me. I said 80 proof. So I said, do I need more bourbon? No, I don't need more bourbon. I got too much now. But for that deal, I said, I'm buying it. You know, it's unusual. There's a code which makes no sense. It's like a bunch of numbers. A whole lot of them. At the bottom of the bottle, they say you can look on here and it'll sometimes give it away when it says number in the right corner. It says 15. So it could be from 2015. That does seem to make sense. And it has an anchor on it. Now, I think the anchor means export, like a ship. And I'm going to tell you why. If you look on the website, heavenhill.com, because that's the parent company, not heavenhill.com, sorry, Luxco.com, Luxco. They have product specifications. There's a page called product specifications. It'll show this. But it says Ezra Brooks ADP, 80 proof, export only, 750 milliliter bottle, and you can buy a case of 12 or whatever. That's what it says. Ezra Brooks, 80 proof, export only. So I think this is one of those oddities that is sold for export only to, like I say, Taiwan or maybe Kampuchea or Singapore or something like that. Now, why is it in a Louisiana store? Well, it wasn't International Market. It could be an import. Now, that's no joke. It could have been sent to Taiwan and then imported back, but I doubt that. It's probably just it got rerouted some kind of weird way. But I have never, ever in my whole entire life seen this before. But there it was, and it's still there. They must have 20 bottles on the shelf, and they probably got a warehouse full of them, knowing those people, because that place is huge. They own a whole block. Not kidding. They own a wholesale store, which you have to have a membership to get into that. They have their International Market, which is a large international grocery store, which is fascinating right there. And then they own the shopping center, International Market Shopping Center, which has like a karate studio, a tax place where you can get your taxes done, and those kind of things. So, and it's all very modern and upkept. Like they obviously have a lot of money because there's no litter. Everything is freshly painted, all new flooring. They just keep everything looking super sharp. And they're very efficient. You know, when you go in, they're like real fast checkout. They're from India and they watch you like a hawk. Sour mash. So I don't know, but I've been told in the heat of the day, a man died of cold. So I found it. It's in the vault. And one day I'm going to bring it out. And I'm going to look one day and I'm going to see if anybody else did video reviews of this. I have a feeling there will be video reviews, but they'll all be in like Chinese and Filipino or something. Okay. Tagalog. I think that's the language. Tagalog. All right. Anyway, there it is. One of my most rarest finds. And I was trying to explain to my friend David about it. I was like, yeah, that's kind of rare. He was like, I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like Ezra Brooks. It's cheap. Blah. I said, okay, I'm just telling you. It was like he wasn't paying attention. I'm telling you, this is not normal. You can't find this. But he doesn't care. So, okay. And apparently nobody else cares because I bought the bottle and it never changes. Like it looks like they got the same bottles on the shelf. They never move. Oh, well, I got it. $10.99. There you go. Okay. Well, I think it was $10.96 if you want to get techno. $10.96. All right, well, that's the kind of stuff you can find at obscure locations close to New Orleans. Oh man. Or even in my town, I found a strange tequila that I never seen. I can't find it on the internet. I can't find photos of it. I can't find nothing, but I found it and it's there and it exists and I got it. And I know that, and I couldn't find no video reviews for it, any video reviews. So talk about obscure. It makes obscure look common. I'll bring that in one day with tequila. All right, well, y'all take care now, and thanks for watching. The winner, the clear and present winner, as usual, as always, actually, Knob Creek Rye.